So yeah, you are going to be allowed to be a bit more aggressive.
5, 4,
with the protection of
3,
your Brigida.
1. Attack commencing. Escort the payload.
Chilling on the high ground.
Payload in motion. Stays in motion.
Damn me.
Hit by any Widowmakers or whatever standing on the high ground.
Tracer left side. Tracer behind you, Widow.
Big call, big call. Like that you're using voice, instantly calling flankers.
Me up top.
Where's the payload from?
The nade was fine.
I get this right now, Brig behind us, inside the bubble.
Get back
And
in
further.
fight.
Winnable.
Actually popping off, and you're also utilizing some crouch spamming to make it difficult.
Focus this Brig is dead. Payload from.
Me up top.
Where's the payload from?
Yeah, maybe a bit quick on the nade on yourself. You have a Brig that can heal you, Zen that can heal you. So using the nade on the tank here would probably be better, but it's fine, it's fine. It is important to keep you alive, so...
I get this right now, Brig behind us, inside the bubble.
Maybe could have used the sleep dart there to punish the Mei dropping down and actually destroying your Zen. That is just...
Get back in
And further.
fight.
Winnable. Focus this Brig is dead. Why not?
Mercy one.
Reina. Reina is out. Rain one. Rain can die. Big one.
Instantly reacting to the tracer shots as well. Yeah, you've got some solid reactions, some good awareness, using voice.
Big one discarded.
So
Take me Widow.
Tracer on me top.
that is good.
I'm on Widow is out.
Mechanics, is it? You haven't missed too many shots.
Push payload, Widow is pressure on the right,
Quite decent.
I'm going on the Widow again.
Healing enhanced.
So okay, you don't really have anything to combo with here as the Ana. You don't have a Genji or a Soldier or a Kree or something that can that you can use your ult on. So I would probably be thinking about using it either on the Brig now that she has popped Rally, or to save one of your tanks and let them be more aggressive.
Over the range.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Instant to let him be more aggressive, and a huge anti-nade. Man, you are playing really well. I also like your positioning. Hiding here behind the cover, using your long sightlines to your advantage. There is no way that they can contest you, and you can spam heal for free here.
Rain anti. Get him. He's dead.
Reinhardt should definitely always be slapped.
Get the main.
Widow top.
Tracer me.
I can't control them.
Care about Widow top, boys.
Tracer one.
Can you
Tracer
jump
one.
Widow? Widow's one on
But okay, so
payload.
the reason I
You're powered up. Get in
where are your supports actually?
there.
So
Right now.
Ben is fighting
Rain anti.
Tracer, or
Getting.
and D.Va,
That's
and that actually forces trance as well. Okay.
Get the main.
Widow top.
Tracer me.
I can't control them.
Care about Widow top, boys.
Tracer one.
Can you
Tracer
jump
one.
on?
Okay, so there are some moments where your positioning should change a bit depending on the teammates that you have, and oh, whoops, that was a mistake. And if they have ults ready, you're really silent. The game is so loud. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I fix. How's this? This better? Testing, testing. Is sound okay? Good, good. Okay. Want me to restart the whole thing? Oh well, there wasn't much to talk about the start. Anyway, you played that really well. The thing that is coming up here in this fight is that you have a Brig and a Zen, so you can be a bit more aggressive and try to get some more value, as well as yeah, being a bit closer to them when they pop ults. So the Brig is gonna go aggressive here with her rally, and you really want to have a piece of that armor. Your Zen also has trance ready.
Get in there.
So yeah, the three main principles of Ana positioning. You've got two of them here, but not the third. You've got cover. You've got long. That's a good arrow. You've got long and nice sightlines over the fight. And you are in a relatively safe position. But the third one is proximity to your supports. So either like tell the Zen here to move back a bit so that you stick together, or you could even push up here. With the Brig ult and with the trance, there's no way you die. Hopefully no dicks today, Duffy. I will do my best. So yeah, you can push up here. Bit easier to hit like sleep darts and nades. There's no way you die with trance and Brig armor. So that could allow you to be a bit more aggressive, get some more value. And you probably would not die in this situation, as well as the Zen not being forced to trance here. So the Zen is in a duel with the Tracer here. She gets the Diva mech and is gonna force out the trance as well.
Getting. He's dead.
So yeah, you actually, this looks really good for you. This looks really good for you. You've got 2 kills. The Brig actually came to peel for you when you slept that Reinhardt. So now you're in a 6 versus 4 situation. The only way you lose this fight is if you die, because then you lose quite a lot of your sustain, and they might be able to retake with some kind of.
We did top. Everybody, we did top, boys.
Wait, let me see. What do you say?
Get the main.
We did top. Everybody, we did top, boys.
Okay. So yeah, you need to immediately scream for help in these situations and move towards your supports. You almost win this duel though, so well played. You hit your shots, hit your anti-nade. That is really good. You actually seem to have some decent mechanics, but you don't really say anything in voice until the Tracer's 1 HP, and by then it is too late. I'm guessing you will win this fight anyway.
We just run on payload.
Since you have Brig and your tanks are full HP, I don't think they can take this back. Oh, okay, never mind. They are.
Mercy's one. This sword on the right side. She's one.
Much better.
I'm coming
than
still
Havana
wallable.
on the beach.
Yeah, I could have maybe finished off that Tracer with your melee. That's true, Shuji, but well. Ana actually survived with literally 1 HP, so.
No. Fuck.
Just a scratch, you'll be fine.
Yeah, could have maybe survived, but it was a big if.
Diva pick me.
But even then, like the small micro, the small micro things, that doesn't really matter too much right now, especially since that was or should have been a 1 fight, as long as everyone survives and just plays together. So trying to take the duel with a Tracer pocketed by a Mercy instead of just running towards your team and trying to survive for as long as possible was the downfall of that team fight.
Watching your back.
I'm fast on the top, right? Near. for Zen, wait for Zen.
So make use of your team comp. And in this case, you have the Brig, you have the protection against those flankers, so stick close to her. And since you don't have as many DPS heroes, you're gonna have to be dealing a bit more offensive damage to close this game out, I think. Is what's going to
Yeah, Maze on the
be
right
needed.
side here.
Just regroup.
Good call, regroup.
It's fine.
Yeah, group on boys.
Scratch, you'll be fine.
Rain,
Maybe
corner,
even
so-
back off some more. Oh wow, that was a big shatter.
Mercy's one, Mercy's one. Mercy dead?
The jumping shatter.
Just regroup.
Can we group up, please?
So yeah, that's what happens when you like soft reset, but still stay and quiet and like poke at the Rhine shield. Like there's a very small percent that you'll even be able to kill that Reinhardt. So moving back towards spawn won't lose you anything.
D.Va, just swap here and go back to D.Va. Get the Ryan. Nice.
Okay, Ryan feeding his brains out.
Go, we can go.
Sometimes,
Go five, go five.
sometimes that happens.
We're gonna try to go middle. 3, 2, 1, we're going.
Okay, good nade to save him.
Tracer behind.
Yeah, good. Now you're moving forward. Now you are moving forward. Get closer to your supports. The Tracer can't really chase you.
Get the main. She's one.
Middle dead. One payload.
I would say you have the same habit that we all do, but that just needs to be removed, and that is jumping. You are jumping all the time, almost every single time you take a shot,
Bubble, bubble.
as you can see.
Bull, 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 bull.
Main sleeping.
So your mechanics are good. You have
Going on the trace on
some
the left.
nice
They're
defensive
coming,
positioning.
Stay payload, stay payload.
There's a Tracer still by, I think.
So wait, who did you use Nano on this fight? I didn't even notice. Was it the monkey? Okay, you use it on the Brig that gets frozen and they trust. Okay, okay.
Tracer behind.
I missed that because I was looking at the Tracer. Unlucky. Oh, that was fine, I guess. Maybe a slight waste, but you couldn't have known that the Zen was going to trans.
One payload.
Reloading.
Bubble, bubble. Bull, 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 bull.
You're also making use of quick scopes.
Main sleeping.
Going on the trace on the left. They're coming, they're coming. Stay payload, stay payload.
There's a Tracer still by, I think.
Tracer top left. Top left, top left.
So on this part of the map, Brig is probably gonna lose a lot of her of her value with all the high grounds.
One payload top.
Tracer.
There isn't much a Brig can do.
Tracer up top.
I'll go to this on his side.
Tracer dead.
What's in this corner? What's in this corner? One.
Decent, decent. A small trick that I usually make use of. She didn't even notice you here, but it could be nice.
Tracer up.
When fighting against flankers that want to attack you. In this case, she hasn't really done that too much, but making use of doors to hit sleep darts, it's really nice, makes it super easy. She didn't even notice you were turning around here, so it was fine. And I see you wanted to do a surprise sleep dart. But trying to disengage into enclosed spaces with doorways makes it really easy to hit your sleep darts, since they don't really have a lot of options to dodge. And also, when trying to hit tracers with sleep darts, good tracers are usually going to waste like all of their, or they're gonna probably try you out a few times first. So they're gonna try to dodge your sleep dart with a few blinks first, and then if they get scared, they might recall. And a really good tip that ML7 usually uses, and that I've started to use as well, is to use your melee, because that makes your character do this animation where you put up your hand, and it is quite similar to the sleep dart animation. So in a chaotic 1 versus 1 duel, they will be paying attention to like minute details. So you raising your hand, even if it's a regular melee, will more often than not trigger them to use either blink or recall, because they are afraid of the sleep dart. So baiting out a few blinks or a recall, if you're lucky, by using melees in their direction is a really nice tip from ML7.
I'll go to this on the side.
There's a bed.
What's the disorder? What's the disorder? One. What's the bed?
Group up, we don't have healers.
Trying.
Yeah, so you were actually down 2 while all of this happened. Even if you get a pick, it doesn't mean anything here in the grand scheme of things.
في الامتحان يكرم المرء أو يهان.
Makes no cancer.
Can we back off, please? Don't get snowballed.
Hey man, thanks for the follow.
The main, sure. He's the main problem,
up top.
actually.
This is a classic diamond / master not regrouping properly and getting picked up because of it.
I'm gonna go Widow for you too.
Then walking out into into Widow line of sight like 3 times. He has a death wish.
They're on
He
right
has a
side.
death wish.
Go straight, Frank, come.
You're going to
They will
Can
me.
we group?
I'm out here.
get here.
Okay,
Everyone needs to go
everyone
Widow.
at this phone. Everyone at this phone.
And this is the big problem with the second point of Watchpoint Gibraltar. It is so hard. It is so hard to push through these small doors unless you are coordinating it properly, and well, unless they fucking screw up. But like trying to walk through a small little door while having 6 people shoot at you, you are more often than not going to die without even being able to push through,
Widow's just
as we can see
camping
here.
Winston. Winston on spawn.
I still think you haven't regrouped as 6 yet. Like, don't be afraid to just sit in spawn and do nothing. Tell your team to chill, just sit in spawn, full regroup, and now you rally with 1 still coming out of spawn and the monkey being dead. Oh well.
Somebody needs to go Widow, top left.
I'm going on it. Widow change
You'll be
buff.
fine.
Jumping in 3,
Tracer left side.
me. Widow's one.
Nice.
Nice,
Okay,
let's
so
go.
got him. Called out Tracer out that side.
I'm on.
Should open up the point.
Nice job.
Mercy. She's one.
Widow still one. I'm backing up. Thank you.
Me
Widow's
behind
top left.
steals.
Dallas Fuel plays Brig here. Yeah, that's
I
actually
can
true.
reload. I'm gonna go on Widow. I'm going on Widow. 3, 2, 1, 20. My left.
We'll probably see a lot of double sniper on this map. That was very popular before Goats, with the many levels of high ground and the long sightlines as well. Other aggressive man, that is fine.
Dead.
Did you call it out?
2, 1, 20.
Me
Widow's
behind
top
steals.
Oh,
Pick me Winston.
IBM payload. I'm gonna go on Widow.
Me
Widow's
behind
top left.
steals.
Pick me Winston.
IBM payload. I'm gonna go on Widow. I'm going on Widow. 3, 2, 1, 20. My left.
okay. Well, that's just a small tidbit. If you're planning to nano someone aggressively, do tell them beforehand, just so that they know that they can be a bit more aggressive. And maybe they might even do a whole other decision, jumping some other person or some other place, because they know that they're gonna have the damage to do something.
Mercy's one, Mercy dead.
Tracer sleeping behind.
Sleep.
We got a Widow.
Dodge 9, Dodge 9, Dodge 9, Dodge 9, Dodge 9.
That was actually close.
Get his Winston, get his Winston. You wanna try to dodge? Okay, you can't. Get his Winston, nice.
Holy shit, are you gonna lose this game?
Go, let's go, let's go. Get a Widow, get a Widow.
You're actually playing out of your mind. Actually hitting shots, hitting sleep darts, hitting nades. I am impressed. I'm impressed.
Someone's up top.
If you can play like you're doing on this attack, then I'm sure you will climb through Masters. You are though going to start losing a bit more duels to the DPS, unless you get rid of the habit of jumping and throwing out your sleep darts a bit too early. A bit too early.
Tracer behind.
Mission no jump, don't focus
Tracer
him.
behind, Tracer behind. That's
Behind,
it. Nice,
behind.
nice, nice.
Ah, nice.
Let's see the skill cam here.
Back for heal.
Oh no, you kicked it.
I'm trying
Okay.
to back up. I'm
Unlucky. Because that would probably have shown exactly what I mean.
frozen.
So she could easily one clip you thanks to the predictable movement of your jump here.
Mission no jump, don't focus him.
Tracer behind.
Yeah, for sure. Problem with jumping, you have no control and it makes your movement predictable for headshots. Yeah, Duffy, exactly. When you start playing against GM Widowmakers and Hanzos and stuff, as well as Tracer and tracking heroes as well as Zaryas and Sombras, if you jump, they are gonna deal at least half of your HP in damage for free. So getting into the habit of AD strafing. So there's gonna be two different ways of strafing, or I guess there are like three. But against tracking characters like Tracer, Soldier, Zarya, Sombra, you want to do, as well as, let's start with tracking characters. Tracking characters, you want to do wide strafes, wide AD strafes, with some irregular changes in patterns when going left, right, left, right. So you change sometimes, but you still have some wider strafes. When you're playing against hitscan, one-shot characters like Widowmaker, Ashe, McCree, then you want to do shorter strafes with some crouches incorporated, so that because they're often gonna be aiming for your head. So with some crouches, but a bit shorter in length, just to make your head very difficult to hit. And then you have projectile characters like Hanzo and Zen. You're also gonna want to be doing wide strafes like against tracking characters, but you can also sometimes incorporate like a single jump. If you time it correctly, can make a Hanzo just completely whiff a shot. And you can also do some crouching. But against tracking characters, I do not recommend crouching, because that makes you slower, and their crosshairs are often like at your center of mass anyway, because they often have a huge spread. So by crouching, you only become slower, and your head hitbox actually goes down into their crosshair. But against projectile characters like Hanzo, Zen, you can definitely incorporate some crouches, and even like a single jump might throw off their aim completely. But though the jumping is very, very risky, since if you jump before a Hanzo has released his arrow, then you are a free headshot and dead 9 times out of 10 if it is a good Hanzo.
Behind.
That actually takes some time for me to adjust to. When I start playing on my main account after like having played on my Smurfs, that actually takes around 5 to 6 deaths before I actually start moving correctly. And I think you guys saw that when I tried to take GM last time, and I only fed and got headshot by Widows left, right, and center. Did not end well. And it took me like 6 deaths before I actually positioned myself and started moving correctly to dodge shots.
Oh, nice.
Sorry about that.
I'm trying to go back up.
Yeah.
Frozen fucking me.
Sugar, sugar, sugar.
Jumping
Just
is bad
try
for
to
you.
focus this mate, he's destroying us. Just call out. Hold on now.
Yeah, trying to hit Winstons, especially when they are in Primal Rage. I guess that jump was pretty weird. Let's see here. Jump, sleep dart. Okay, yeah, you got slightly knocked back by the jump pack. So that wasn't your fault. It's pretty good sleep dart aiming. I take back what I was about to say.
Is Winston still behind?
But it's definitely the right mindset. Wait for his jump, and the easiest is actually to hit him while he's in the air. And I saw you actually try to do that last time, so I won't go into that anymore. Because usually most monkeys do not put down their bubble while in the air. They usually wait until they have landed and then start shield dancing with their bubble. And by then it is often too late.
Okay, we can go.
Get me, get me,
Just
get
wait
me.
with me. Just wait
Or at
with
least
me.
it becomes
Nice.
a lot harder.
Go.
Good tech.
I'm gonna
So that becomes a bit of a baiting thing. If you start hitting Winstons while they're jumping a lot, they are going to start bubbling earlier, and that's when you can bait out the bubble, not use your sleep dart, and then walk into the bubble, into their face, and sleep dart them. Winstons are really easy to hit if you are point blank range.
Okay, try to go on the screen. 3, 2, 1.
Watching your back.
Okay, now you have a McCree instead of Widow. So now you're gonna have even more protection against flankers as long as you stay close to your Brig and McCree. In a composition like this, you do not want to use long sightlines and being away from your team. You really want to stay close.
Tracer behind me.
Discard the Mei and then nano me.
Yeah, that could have been a good use of the melee trick. If you melee towards her, like it was super obvious that you were going to sleep dart there. And as the tracers become better and better, it is going to be more work and a lot harder to hit sleep darts. You're gonna have to bait out some abilities first.
Who's up?
Tracer's going on me, I think.
I need a nano.
Good trying is active.
Someone else now. Take payload.
Yeah, I think trusting your teammates some more.
Discard it.
So the Tracer already used recall here. Tracer is no longer like a huge threat. She can't really go in ultra hard here. Because if you just hit one shot on her, then she has to go take a health pack and just fuck off. So
Discard the Mei and
you are taking a super defensive position here where you're quite far away from your team, and you're not in their, they are not in your vision either. So you can't heal them here. So you're giving way too much respect to this Tracer. When you have a Brig and a McCree, the only thing you need to do is stay close to them, tell them to save their stuns,
Who's up?
and the Tracer can't actually do anything in this
Tracer's going on
situation.
me, I think.
I need a nano.
Good trying is active.
Someone else now. Take payload.
Dein Schutzengel ist da.
Mercy.
Okay, let's look at your defense. So yeah, the actual mechanics of your Ana have been fine. You have been pretty good hitting your shots and your nades and some sleep darts. But you wasted so much time on regrouping. I guess that is more of a team issue. That this attack became pretty hard. So let's see how your defense goes. Wait, what team did you have? Exactly the same. Okay.
They have Widow.
Yeah, this position is fine. Can farm some ult, take some.
Stop the payload.
Yeah, there we go. He's bursting. First up behind us. We don't.
Down.
Okay, yeah, that was unlucky, I guess.
Doing missing. Get down, get down, get down.
Okay, so what
Yeah,
actually
that's
happened here? The monkey jump pushes you off.
First up behind us. We don't.
Okay, so standing, let's see, standing right here, Azana, behind this little blue box, is probably the best position. You can't get booped off, and if the tanks jump up, then you can hit a pretty fat anti-nade that will probably hit your whole team and hit the enemy tanks, and that will allow you to pressure them back, and you will still have control of the high ground here.
First up behind us. We don't.
Down.
Doing missing. Get down, get down, get down.
Widow top left.
I would have probably used my nade to heal up the diva fast and tell my tanks to take control of the high ground. Because now
Try and get
you
Diva
have
free.
given up a lot of space for free, and they're gonna push the payload a lot for free as well. You have control of the high ground here. You can definitely make something happen by being able to drop down, get some more information. Now you can't really see anything. Okay, they are jumping up a
This
bit,
is top right.
a bit late.
Go with him, go with him.
Never mind. I mean,
Down from here, get down from here.
Go. I'll give you
This one is behind us. Mercy, 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 mercy.
Yeah, so that is positioning, it's fine.
Mercy one, mercy one.
May.
You are close to your Zen, but you're still in line of sight, so you can help each other. Unfortunately, the diva mech is destroyed.
We're focusing the same target.
You'll be fine.
This is one.
Just one. Just no recall.
Got your nade, man. Nice. Guess we're
Go
done.
mercy.
Brig one.
One. That. Need to focus.
What happened to the Zen here? You lost track of your Zen.
We're focusing the same target.
You'll be fine.
This is one.
So you actually forced the recall,
Just no recall.
and here you should be able to kill Tracer. Like a nade and a melee here would put her at like 10 HP. And yeah. Oh, okay, the Brig is coming from the left.
Go mercy.
Brig one.
Okay, that was actually really unlucky, I guess.
Go mercy.
Brig one.
So you miss a few shots here, then you're gonna miss the Winston here as well. Or you're gonna hit the bubble barely when you're 99 to nano. Could have probably turned this fight around if you hit the nano on the monkey here.
Need to focus.
It looks like you might. Okay, never mind. Is we're stalling out.
You're going.
I'm almost
Mercy
there, I'm
sleeping,
almost
mercy
there, I'm
sleeping.
almost there.
Elfana Mercy sleeping. Killer.
Destroy this bubble, destroy this bubble.
Okay, good. Shoot, nade, shoot, melee. Perfect execution.
Alright, winnable.
Nice, nice, nice. Focus in A, focus in A.
Don't need to talk about that either.
Fuck him further.
And you also made use of the doorways, like I talked about earlier. Makes it really easy to hit sleep darts when they are forced to walk through a very narrow corridor.
I'm on point, I'm still on point.
May one. Just on me.
Monkey one.
Monkey one.
Yeah, souls.
Just group.
Someone is dying actually.
التكرار يعلم الشطار.
That is the nature of fights at these levels. One shot, and you nano that monkey, and I think you actually win that fight and hold the first point a bit longer. Nice try.
Tracers.
This tracer is actually pretty good. Pretty good.
It's very good, very good.
You do have a brig though,
I was going to know too.
so I would have liked her to actually protect you guys some more. I'm not sure what she's doing.
Get him.
Wait, we need to contest.
I would have probably just antinated him immediately here when you hit the sleep.
Get him.
Fortunately it misses.
Wait, we need to contest. We don't fight.
Look at this rig.
No, I'm safe.
I will keep you here.
We need damage.
Monkey low.
You're powered up.
Tracer.
Okay, I gotta move back here. Okay, so
I get some.
you barely get the monkey. Could have
Get him.
maybe gotten him with the nade,
Contest.
and then here
We don't fight.
waste some time on the tracer, and meanwhile your monkey dies. Get a huge anti-nade, but there is no follow-up. Some good quick scopes. But maybe since you are uncontested, you should not be quick scoping, but hard scoping instead. And just trying to pump out as much healing as possible. You're really close to nano as well. But I guess you wanted to reposition yourself since they have a widow. A really big flick here. I don't think you needed to try to hit such a hard sleep dart. Was only a monkey. You have full HP. You have your nade. You're not in like immediate danger, so you can take your time. You also have a McCree here with the flashbang. You are not in a hurry. So doing like a 360 backflip sleep dart actually costs you quite dearly here. You're forced to nade yourself as well. And I don't know how the monkey survives.
Monkey low.
McRight click should have dealt with him. Ever.
You're powered up.
Tracer, no lethal, one.
Monkey inside the ship.
Get the main, no wall. I can try to contest with food.
Old soldiers are hard to kill.
So yeah. Yeah, would have been pretty cool if you got off that that sleep dart. Yeah, for sure.
Coming left side.
But you only need to do those high risk like flick sleep darts when you know that you're actually gonna die in like the next 0.5 to 1 seconds. There's no need to go for high risk, high reward plays unless you actually need to.
Actually, I'm not coming. I think it's sauce.
Keep
It's a
holding.
window.
Okay, stop.
Just go. We don't have damage.
Let's see what kind of position pick here.
Missing damage.
Have the Widowmaker. Okay, this is good. I would probably be standing out here instead of inside of the door, because this limits your options quite heavily, and you can also get shot at from this high ground. So if they push up with the rest of their team and let their Widow take this high ground, then you can't really get out of this door. So that's going to give you some very narrow sightlines, and you won't really be able to push up with your team. But if you hide behind this little cover here, you can't get shot at from the high ground, and you see a bit more of the point. And you can also try to hit like sneaky sleep darts or anti-nades when they try to push up.
Let's go.
Okay, now we have Ana guns.
Maze on the right side.
Widow top.
Okay,
Let's
nice.
go going,
You
going.
actually take the positioning I was talking about.
Widow one,
Okay,
widow one.
no wall. Get the May on the right.
Standing in the open now though against the Widow and jumping, that would have probably killed you. Actually, but she took a shot at the Zen instead.
You're going to be okay.
So you are alive for now.
This one is behind our back. This one. That.
Okay. Good sleep dart from the jumping
Maze
monkey.
one, this corner.
Not for very many.
Yeah,
Come on,
there's
main
not
one.
much you can do. The rest of your team is dead.
This one is behind our back. This one. That. Maze one, this corner.
Not for very many.
Oh me.
Yeah, that was pretty hard for you to get back from since they had ultimates and you had just swapped.
I shot it. Just
Kills.
going.
Coming with nano.
More than.
We had no damage in this. It was gold damage for the whole fucking game.
It was close, but no cigar. But yeah, I think making use of your second support and Brig is definitely something you could have taken more advantage of by sticking closer to them. Also thinking about their ults, what ults they have. If they have trance and rally, then staying closer to them is actually going to give you more survivability than trying to get a safe sightline far away from the fight. And yeah, I guess training some sleep darts against the good tracers. Maybe going to custom game and duel a good tracer with like 0 cooldowns. Or with regular cooldowns, so that you actually practice like trying to bait out 2 or 3 blinks and a recall before trying to hit the sleep dart. Yeah, other than that, some really solid mechanics. Unfortunately, a lot of time was wasted, like soft regrouping and not really respecting the enemy team enough by doing full regroups. So that is also something that you can try to take control of in the game and actually call out in voice. You did some call outs, called out like tracer behind or tracer on you, but that was pretty much the only thing. You are pretty much going to have to practice a bit on ult tracking so that you don't get surprised. You know when the tracer is gonna have pulse bomb, you can tell your team. And other ults like primal are also pretty easy to keep track of. They could also be a pain in the ass for you to deal with. So yeah, try to take a bit more control of your team by using communication. Telling them to actually regroup in spawn is fine. And then doing some ult tracking, I think is gonna bring you to the next level of Ana play, because you've got the mechanics. You hit your shots, you hit your nades, and you're nanoing the correct targets for the most part. So definitely the more macro aspect of the game that you need to start working on now. Yeah, some solid play. What